how can you provide the greatest, highest level of customer service when you've got 40 loans in your individual pipeline? That's a tough task for anybody to do, you know?
You have to be a monster.
Yeah, for sure.
To stay on top of it and provide the service.
Yeah.
You do.
It's tough. It is tough.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is what you touched on earlier, and that is to educate the consumer. At the end of the day, we're helping them make the best decision, right? And so I think trying to educate the consumer of what to expect, what you're gonna see if you look at new homes and the way of incentives and whatnot, what those risks are that we've already talked about, and then what it's worth to you. Because like you say, we've had some clients go, oh, I'm gonna get a few extra $1,000 to work with the builder's lender and share all my information that I really don't want to share with anybody else.
Sure.
No, that's not, you know what I mean? We're going to pass. We're going to stick with what we've got. We're happy we've been taken care of, and so I think it's important to share, to educate and make sure that the consumer understands both directions. And at the end of the day, they need to decide what's best for them.
That's absolutely correct. I mean, that's a reason why I'm doing these podcasts. Is at the end of the day, the information's there. It's what you do with the information moving forward. But our guests, they're gonna be experts in what they do. They're going to give you the raw behind the scenes of it. It's out there. Matter of fact, all this stuff we're talking about is out there somewhere already.
Right.
I was given an example earlier today that I was watching a podcast live and I commented, and this was probably 6 months ago. And I said, hey, what are you guys doing out there? Because we're getting crushed by builders. And this was up north. And their response, because they'll read the question, then they'll respond, was, we're not having that issue. Our buyers are a little bit more educated and they understand how that works. And it was like, wow. So y'all don't really have to compete with them. They're like, no, most of our buyers, if they work with us first, they use outside lending, and that's that because they know that there's no free lunch is basically the term that they use.
Yeah.
No, that's right. And from a lending standpoint, I would work with and educate all other realtors that you work with on how, because this is all about to change.
Right.
Builders can't support and hold as many houses as that are coming down the pike on the ground as inventory homes. It's not possible. They're never going to change the message that you have to use our lender,
because it works.
You have to go in and be willing to walk away. You know what I mean? Like, I'll put an offer together, and if they don't take it, I'm willing to move on to number two. You know what I mean? And when I move on to number two, you just have to be willing to walk away if they're not going to be reasonable.
I agree.
And you know what? They'll be reasonable when
Yeah,
there's more
absolutely.
homes on the ground.
And I think, like you said, when there's more homes on the ground, and it will happen because all those things happen cyclically. We're going to run out of homes when the demand is more than the supply. And then eventually it'll come back around the other way. How far down and how far up, that's kind of the new thresholds that we get to discover, like we just did in the past 2 years. We never thought the values were going to increase that quickly. We never thought that the inventory was going to get that low, you know? But I mean, those are all good points. Those are all great nuggets for not only buyers, but also agents out there and brokers that don't know this information.